this is the A Kid Again Youth Committee.
L, obviously we all have kind of some reason that we're all part of A Kid Again. What reason are you a part of A Kid Again, and how did you get started with A Kid Again?
I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 11 weeks old, and that was a journey throughout my whole childhood. I was lucky enough to go seizure-free when I was around 11, 12, 13. And ever since then, I really stepped into the role of advocacy. And when I was 16, I believe, through my mom, who works for the Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan, connected me to Amy, which is how I found out about A Kid Again. And as soon as I heard what A Kid Again does, I was like, I want to be a part of this in some way, shape, or form. I fell in love with it, and I love the mission statement that it brought, to be able to give hope to the kids and teenagers and everyone, even the family. It's to have a medical condition, it can be really draining for everyone involved. And so to be able to step away from that for a little bit and to be able to just have fun with your family is just so important. And A Kid Again does a perfect job at providing that space.
Now, Elle, you yourself, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have one brother and then one foreign exchange student.
Are they older or younger?
My foreign exchange student is older by a week, and then my brother is 3 years younger.
But how important do you think it is to allow the whole family to go on these adventures too, and not just the child dealing with a medical condition?
I think that's one of the most important things. I know so many other families who have a similar story of mine, but the only difference is I'm friends with the kid who doesn't have the medical diagnosis, and so they've shared with me their personal experience, talking about how sometimes due to their siblings' medical diagnosis they can tend to feel overlooked, and the A Kid Again family does the perfect job of making sure they realize that the siblings and parents even are affected too by this. It isn't just one person has it, it affects the whole family.
Now, Chase, you were also a part of A Kid Again, and yes, have several siblings. But we've shared your story before. You're a racer, huge racer. You recently just had a stint in the hospital once again, and you said that was kind of a yearly thing, right?
More than a yearly thing. Recently, I've been in the hospital about every 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. You make a hospital visit down to University of Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And you spend some time there, kind of healing up, resting up, getting able to go back to do what you love. So what's it mean to you to be on the committee and kind of help A Kid Again? Because one, you're a part of it, but two, you get to help these younger kids and these families that are also a part of it, that get to go on these adventures and, get to forget a day of being at the hospital or doctor visits or what you do every 3 to 6 months. What does that mean to you?
Well, first off, obviously, I've seen firsthand on how hard it can be with some sort of life-threatening disease or illness or, such. And when I was a part of A Kid Again, just seeing how much that it helped when I first started. Because before I was in A Kid Again, I was just a ball of depression. And now I'm doing so much better. I have things to look forward to all the time, and I wanted to help out with that. I more thought, since A Kid Again did all this stuff for me, I might as well give back and help to more kids. That what A Kid Again gave to me, maybe I can give to others too.
And that's such a huge, mature mindset. And to be fair, both of you have to mature very quickly, because you're dealing with things that you shouldn't have to deal with at such a young age. And that just kind of, again, shows to me the power of our young people. Sometimes a lot of teenagers get overlooked if they're dealing with something, because a lot of eyeballs tend to go to younger kids. Be like, oh, he's dealing with this. So are teenagers. And not to mention, like you mentioned, Chase, the depression. You're battling a lot more through your teenage years, not to mention your medical conditions. And then you also have to deal with, let's be frank, puberty. Your brain's expanding, everything is changing, and everything is just amplified 100 times. And it just seems like there's so much more to deal with. Now, Elle, Chase, you don't know each other, correct? Unless you guys weren't together on the committee, you guys don't know each other in real life. Is that kind of like a help? Like, what's that mean to you? Knowing that, Elle, you had a medical condition, Chase, you have a medical condition, you're both on a committee together, you guys can share stories and compare notes almost about stuff like that. How do you think that helps being on the committee together with similar backgrounds, but at the same time not really meeting each other, but being friends now because you're in the committee?
I think it's one of the most powerful things. I didn't meet another person with any like real diagnosis until I was 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of growing up, I felt very isolated, but I didn't understand why I felt isolated. And so then when I turned 16, I was meeting people with epilepsy. I was meeting with people with CF like Chase. I was meeting all these different people, and we were able to find a common ground. And like I realized how important that is to be able to find people who may not walk the exact same path as you, but people who can understand and can sympathize that, hey, we were forced to grow up a lot faster. We had to care about things that other kids our age didn't care about. We had to just take extra precautions when it came to many things that people wouldn't even think about, we weren't allowed to do even. And so to be able to now have a community and have many people that you're able to talk to and share with, and to be able to share stories with and to lean on is very important. And I think that's one of the best things. Especially with CF, it's hard to meet people who struggle the same as I do, because with CF, I have 3 different types of colonized bacteria in my lungs, which means there's no way I could ever get close to another CFer in my entire life. So with being on the committee and meeting Al, which obviously Elle doesn't have CF, but someone who shares around the same struggles that I have, it makes it so much better, like Elle said, to find a common ground and find similarities and figure out, working together, how we can together can help people.
You have teenagers that are, 1, already more mature than they have to be, and 2, you guys are taking another step with helping a kid again. And not to mention also bringing the fresh ideas to a kid again, because let's be real, Shauna and Amy need a little help when it comes to freshening up with, what's the lingo, gonna yeet some ideas around here, or, I'm just saying, the younger blood's always good. But, I mean, it's something special in a kid again. The fact that we have family members or kids that are teenagers that are in this committee that can help kind of point in the right direction with different views, different takes, different diagnoses. Elle's diagnosis is different than Chase's, and what she experienced might be a little bit different than Chase. But I think one thing that everybody can get from this committee is you're not alone when you look at what you've had or what you're going through. There's a lot of kids that, whether they're teenagers or maybe heading into their 20s, that are dealing with similar items. And that's where we can all start to get on the same page and help each other out. But what would you tell people looking from the outside what a kid again does? How impactful is it to you and families that just are looking for a day break from things?
I would say it's more impactful than you can understand. From an outside perspective, it's something that you may hear about and you may be like, oh, that's cool. But it's really hard to grasp what it actually means. I think it means the world, especially I've been able to go to these events and see these families together, and they're just so happy. It means literally the world to them to be able to just enjoy time together and to be able to meet other families and to have this fun day planned. But it means the world in a way that not everyone can understand putting into words.
Like you said, Chase, being on the committee and also dealing with medical conditions yourself, you also race, but you had families there last year, and of course the Raceway will have families again. But that's kind of super amazing that you have the ability not only to give back, but also you're doing something you love to do and providing an adventure for families and kids who might not even know what a Raceway is. Like, what does that mean to you?
It's super important to me. I mean, drag racing has been my life since I was born, really. I'm fourth generation drag racer, so getting to see kids experience what I once experienced for the first time, and especially when it's harder for kids with disabilities or life-threatening diseases and such to even manage to get to a racetrack, it means so much that I can give them an experience that I absolutely love and show them just how absolutely fun racing is and include them in my pit crew. Because every family that comes to the adventure that I'm a part of is part of my pit crew.
And all the names of the kids who were on your car last year too, which was super awesome. So they could come see the car beforehand and try to pick out their name on your car.
Yep, and I can say for certain those names are not going away anytime soon. In
so
fact,
cool.
I'm hoping to add more if possible.
And I'll say it again, it is amazing what you guys do. If there was one thing that you had to say about your time, whether it's with the kid again or just what you guys are trying to throw out to the general public, what are some of the last words that you have for kids or families that might be intrigued with a kid again or think there might be nothing that they can do? What do you guys have for words for those kids and families?
If there's kids and families that are looking into a Kid Again and they're not a part of a Kid Again yet, 100% join. A Kid Again has been one of the greatest things that have ever happened to me and absolutely changed my life. And if there's anyone out there that wants to donate to a Kid Again, please do. It's an absolutely amazing organization that's helped so many kids with issues and disabilities like me. And it gives them the possibility to do such amazing experiences that otherwise there's a high chance they would have a really hard time doing.
I would say it's very important to not be afraid, even though it sounds a lot harder. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out there and take the first step to get involved, to reach out to Amy or Shauna or any of the families that are currently involved to be able to step out and take initiative, because you'll get here and you will find a community that supports you more than you can ever imagine. You'll take the hard step and we can help pick it from there. So just don't be afraid to reach out, even if it seems very, very daunting, which I know it can. It's just very important to try and get involved in the community, and I think that's very important.